rarely goes. He doesn't even go for like DSS and Spirit Listen most times. So I think Strav is definitely gonna be playing he's gonna be playing the long game with the consistent strats. So Triple definitely needs to capitalize on his faster stuff. And if he does that, then he'll hopefully be able to beat Stravos. Get an early lead is really what Triple wants. If you fall behind too much, then Stravos is gonna play consistently over and over. And
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, going into a race is completely different than just doing PB runs. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
I think that consistency pays off. We saw that a few years back with Punkation against Cheese in the Super Mario 64 league, where Punkay just focused on consistency while Cheese was trying to go for like these crazy strats, and I think that kind of changes everything.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, Triple does a lot of really crazy strats, like I said. I think he does like DSS. There's a lot of like strats that you wouldn't normally see in any percent run.
Right.
Whereas Stravos definitely plays more reserved, not doing the crazy stuff. So it'll definitely be interesting to see the different play styles from both runners.
And we talked about like those high risk versus high reward strats, and I know it's kind of a source of contention within speedrunning if you're watching the other person while you're going through the race, but that kind of plays into it too. So okay, yep, I got to kick it up a little bit here, or okay, I can kind of slow down. I could do something that's more consistent.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I think both of these runners probably have backups and stuff, just if they ever need them. If like they ever like make any small mistakes, just getting back up there, doing the strat or whatever, trying it again, doing the backup. And I think that's very important, especially in races, because obviously you can't reset. So if you make a giant mistake, you just kind of keep going with it. Just hope that you don't like lose too much whatever.
Exactly. I mean, and it plays into your mental health too. Like you got to just let it go. I mean, we see right now Stravos has a slight lead here, and that's strictly based upon movement, right? So those tiny movement optimizations are super important. I don't know if you're familiar with Super Mario 64, but Blue Bob came out with a 16 and 17 star beginner tutorial where he got some excellent times, and that's where that old adage, the movement saves minutes, strats save seconds. So I think we're going to see that a lot here in this matchup.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Yeah, I mean, similar thing with SMO. Tyrone, the world record holder, he got a 105, which has like, it's not even very good, but he got a 105 with all beginner strats, and it just shows, like you said, the movement just makes up everything.
It's huge. Speaking of huge, kind of the first hurdle coming up here, it's interesting to watch the evolution of this game. I was actually at PACE 2019 when 1.3 dropped. I was able to talk to like Chaos Pringle and Dangers and a lot of those bigger names in SMO in the changes, because before 1.3 came out, it was 1.0 all the way. You had wet FMS, you had all these strats that are now obsolete. So it's interesting to see the progression of the game over time.
Oh yeah, I mean, with 1.3, that was a very big change. Obviously, yeah, the only reason that, I mean, 1.0 has so many faster strats, but the only reason that 1.3 is faster is just loads save like almost like a minute in this category. So it's crazy.
It is absolutely nuts, and Nintendo didn't even announce it. Nobody expected it, and it was crazy to have all of those big runners like Micro and all of those guys like trying to hurry and update their switches just to see what the time saves would be, and it's cool to see where it's kind of gone.
Yeah, I mean, since then we found so many crazy strats. Like one of them, neither of us went for it, but DSS, Dino Skip, was one of the strats that runners could do in Cascade Kingdom, and that wasn't even like, no one knew that was even possible like at all before 1.3. So, yeah.
And we see here Stravos still slightly in the lead, but TripleX not really making any mistakes. It's just that consistency you talked about in the beginning with Stravos. Focusing on that movement and letting that muscle memory kind of, just take over.
Yeah, I mean, Stravos definitely plays very well in races. He's a very tough opponent. Obviously, winning the A tournament or a couple, like I guess that was basically a month ago, and also just getting he got PB in one of these races a couple weeks ago. So I guess he plays really well in races. Definitely a very scary opponent that many runners have to go against.
Yeah, and it's almost like you'd have to count on Stravos' mistakes because they're going to be few and far in between. It's pretty interesting.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think I've ever. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember Stravos ever losing a race so far in this in this whole tournament thing. So I mean, Stravos is just an amazing runner. It's just like truly impressive to watch him and play so consistently.
And you know, through watching a lot of these races and being around through the tournaments, it's also super interesting to me how people look at it, right? So you've got folks that are really, really good at, you know, resetting and getting those PBs and getting that time down. But when you go into a race like this, it's a completely different mentality, right?
Yeah, 100%.
You don't want to do all those high risk things. You want to be as consistent as possible. So I really enjoy matchups like this.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, mentioned a little earlier before with DSS. I mean, most runners at this level will definitely go for DSS, and we saw neither of these runners. You gotta pull out the less consistent strat or the more consistent strats.
Exactly.
Not going with the crazy stuff.
All right, starting off here in Sand Kingdom. Stravos
Yeah, we got
looking solid.
Sorry. I mean, yeah, both these runners gonna be going for reverse town. It's slightly altering the moon orbit a little bit. It takes about a second over the main route, but it's very hard. There's this one strat coming up where you do we have to like get the bird in midair.
Stravos,
Yeah, Stravos
taking a bonk.
Yeah, Triple had pretty not as big of an error, but just a little different movement. Still kind of messed up, but the lead's a little smaller now with that bonk, so very interesting to see.
And you know, when you see runners at this level, even you with your time, watching the movement and the inputs is just so interesting to me. I started running this game when it first came out, and even attempted a D-Rust the other day. Shout outs to Saren, who I was able to beat in a race. But you know, the changes that have been made in the game, you know, being able to buffer inputs, and how fast these guys are able to just input a spin pound, it's just astonishing to me.
And yeah, like a lot of the movement in this game is just really cool to watch, especially with these guys, the top runners that do all the crazy strats. It's just super cool to watch the movement. It's almost like mesmerizing in a way.
Oh, absolutely. Now, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. Are most runners still using a Pro-Con, or are there still some Joy-Con runners out there as well?
Well, I use Joy-Con. It's not the most popular, but I use Joy-Cons in my runs. But I think most runners, yeah, they will use Pro-Cons. The only real difference is as far as like inside the game is you can't do a down throw on Pro-Con, but like doing a down throw really does not lose any time. So
Stravos having a little bit of an issue getting back up top to the Bullet Bill.
Yeah, I mean, triple too.
Yeah, those are the mistakes that Triple really needs to capitalize on if he would like to take this particular matchup. Oh no!
That loses so much.
Taking a huge death right there. Super unexpected. Commentator's Curse talking about taking advantage of time. TripleX taking first place for the first time.
I mean, yeah, that's one of those strats that like reverse Jaxi is very scary because if you get that exact death, then it can lose up to like 30 seconds at and that's like if you like get really lucky like Stravos did. But it's just like that's like exactly the thing you don't want to do in a race. Getting that So
that was
yeah,
very unexpected.
Yeah, and I mean this gives Triple a giant lead, and now he's probably upwards to like 30, like okay, maybe not 30, but like a very large amount ahead. So yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, I think
differences, you know, in the routing, you know, adding things like reverse Jaxi, those small optimizations that have been found over the years. You know, when I learned, of course, there was like a small ant tutorial or something way back in the day, which is completely different. And now the developments in this game are just way past what you thought they would be.
Oh yeah, I mean Odyssey is still a relatively new game compared to like things like SM64. I mean we
Right.
still get like probably like once a month we get like an 80% time save, which is still crazy.
Which is awesome. I mean, and that's what I like about speedrunning, even with SM64, which is, I mean, almost 30 years old. They're still finding like these little things, and that's truly amazing considering that game has been like decompiled and reconstructed,
Hmm.
and yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
Bravo's slightly behind here. We'll take a look at the time
it's about like 20-ish seconds, I'd say, something around there.
as we're heading into Lake Kingdom. Lake Kingdom is one of my favorites because it's like super movement intensive.
Yeah, the only big strat that's it's got lake clip now, which you'll be able to tell what lake clip is, but that's the only big. It doesn't lose much time unless you get like it's kind of RNG based whether you get the clip or not.
Right.
But if you get to the point where these runners are at, where you can just do it so clean, like you're basically almost always getting like first or second try lake clips.
So I see you're following the script because Stravos is exactly 20 seconds behind at Fade Out. So, oh no, Triple X missing the ledge there.
Yeah, luckily, like I said, Triple knowing the backup there, knowing exactly what to do if that happens. That's like exactly the things that you need to know when doing these races. So very good stuff from Triple, getting that backup and being right up there.
And what's really hard about speedrunning in particular is not even like, yes, it's really hard to be able to put in inputs or all of that good stuff. Honestly, to me, speedrunning is probably 90% mental. So when you start coming across mistakes is when you start to see those issues um, kind of arise. Oh,
I
okay.
mean, both of those runners had a interesting
Good.
movement there.
Yeah, that was kind of confused me for a second. But yeah, like you said, I mean, both of these guys being seasoned runners, lake clip isn't really an issue. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, I mean these runners also I don't really pay attention if they did it, but there's another optimization called long jump leg clip, which is basically just cutting out a cap throw on that leg clip attempt, and it saves about a second or so, but it's pretty hard. It's just one of those
right.
small time hits that you kind of have to do at this point.
Exactly. And it
Yeah, so now
amazes me just comparing, even my terrible, terrible runs, just Dory's position right there. Being so far back towards that bubble. Dory's normally right up close to me, but that's because I'm a slow boy. It's okay.
I mean part of that is also you do the warp right after like after the thing, and that makes Dory and it resets Dory's position. So like you like with the regular clip, which I assume you would do is
Yes.
he's almost always going to be closer up because you don't do the warp, which just like makes him a little further back.
And just as quickly as we came into Lake, we're wrapping up Lake here. Stravos definitely narrowing that gap between Triple X. Like I said, Triple X has really got to take advantage of Stravos's mistakes. And right there, I know Lake Clip was a little bit interesting, but you know, moving on, going into Wooded, what do you think could be some big spots we need to look out for both of these runners?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Pretty much the entire kingdom. Wooded Kingdom is just so hard. Everything about it is really tricky. And if there's any kingdom that's gonna like change up the lead significantly, it's gonna be Wooded Kingdom. So you just need to watch out the entire time. Just makes like hopefully neither runners makes any giant mistakes like falling into deep woods or missing that clip or any big mistakes. Hopefully these runners both get pretty clean woodeds. Obviously a few mistakes will never hurt as long as you just get out of wooded without too much damage.
Yeah, Wooded is pretty scary. Not gonna lie, because there are some major mistake areas that, like, if you just happen to miss an input or drop an input, then yeah, you go into the deep woods. You're kind of done. Um, it's definitely a reset when you're going for PB attempts. But in a race like this, it's all about those backups, like you said, just having the game knowledge of, okay, this happened, this is what I need to do, and you have to react quickly.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like looking at these runners, they're both doing pretty good movement. It's very clean and very refined stuff. But I mean, one wrong mistake, and like if you like lose your mental or game or whatever, like because they can get frustrated, then your movement it starts to slowly chip away, and you start making more mistakes, and you start to like kind of get a snowball effect with your run, and that's never good. That's the
Exactly.
exact not thing you don't want to do.
Going here
Yep.
for a nut flip, making it look super easy.
Oh.
Oh no, that's not good.
Triple with a little mistake, but knows what he's doing, getting back up. Strav also was the mistake. But yeah, Triple doing that, knowing where the hip, knowing where you can, I guess, kind of land. That right there, being able to get right back, and not losing too much time, keeping a cool head.
See, and that's again where it comes into that consistency, knowing how to make up. Oh gosh.
Yeah, Strav falling off ramp or something. I wasn't paying too much attention, but that's gonna lose quite a bit of time missing that ramp. So that, yeah, like I said, Triple capitalizing on this mistake and getting quite a big lead again.
Now we got to see what Triple's going to do with that. Now, when you're doing a race, just as a question, are you watching the other race, or are you just kind of putting your head down and doing what you know how to do?
I'd say normally I just probably just focus on the movement, and then once you're kind of like a break like in between kingdoms, and like when you're grabbing a moon is when you'll check on the runner, just so you don't get too distracted while you're doing the movement.
That's fair. So kind of like a hybrid thing. So if you're in the middle of so you're not constantly looking over, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that's a good take, because then you can kind of modify the strats that you're doing based upon that, but you're not really distracting yourself with the other person's run. That's a pretty good take on that.
Yeah. I mean, it looks a lot further back now, but when you think about it, Strav is only like a moon, basically just a moon behind Triple, so.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Triple's been having a very clean, I haven't noticed any big problems. Well, I guess besides that nut clip out of bounds, but besides that, it's been a pretty clean wooded for Triple. Obviously, can't say the same for Strav with that mistake on the ramp, but yeah, it's pretty good.
And this is interesting because Stravos is currently undefeated in the league, if I'm not mistaken. So, Triple definitely came in with a game plan in mind. And it seems like he's executing pretty well so far.
Oh yeah, I mean, Strav, he's been playing really well for the entire tourney. I mean, I think this is probably the one of, if not the worst pace that he's been on all tourney. This is probably the exact wrong thing that Strav, this is this is the worst scenario for Strav, I'd say.
Right.
Being behind in Wooded Kingdom.
And just seeing the routing changes is what's most interesting to me about the SMO community in particular. Like you said, finding those new little tiny saves. When I ran initially, things like Spiritless were just a theory at that point. So it's really cool to see a lot of these things kind of be put into action now, and these guys just make it look super easy.
I know. I mean, yeah. I mean, as good as these runners are, you got to give it up to the stricken glitch hunters as well. I know our main guy, Relaximus. He's insane at finding tricks. It's just amazing to watch his theorizing stuff. His Twitter channel is just it's crazy. It's loaded with crazy new strats and stuff and glitches. So I mean, give big props to our glitch hunters and for finding all these strats. But yeah, I mean, it's also very hard to master this stuff. These runners do so well. Yeah, it's very, very cool to watch.
And what's even more astonishing for me is just practicing. I remember setting up a whole bunch of different profiles on my Switch for different areas that I wanted to practice, but it's definitely not easy to practice compared to Super Mario 64, where you just throw in an Everdrive and you can set save states literally anywhere. And yeah, so definitely shout outs to these guys.
Yeah, I mean, we're also getting to the point where we got a practice mod. I think it's on I don't even remember. I think it's on Yuzu or something. We do have a practice mod that some runners do. I don't think these runners, maybe Stravos uses it, but the only one I've really seen use it is Tyrone. And so yeah, we do have that practice mod. You can do save states and stuff. And we also working on a task right now, which is pretty cool. We got a decent amount of the game done, but still working on it. So it's cool to watch it evolve.
That is very cool.
Yeah, so both of these runners in Cloud, not too much going on in this kingdom. Both runners did grab the Cloud hint art, which is I don't know, it's just like it makes it so you getting it there doesn't lose any time because Bowser's on a cycle compared to getting a different hint art in Metro, which loses about a second. So just a small, very tiny time save.
And that makes sense. I mean, and you know, I know there's a lot of places throughout this run in particular, and I mean, I guess any of the SMO categories, such as like Ruin Kingdom, that drive people absolutely nuts that they wish they could get through, because it's almost like a speed bump to get to Bowser's.
Yeah.
So I know that's a breakthrough that everybody wants to see.
Yeah, both these runners in the Lost Kingdom. This is another one of those kingdoms that can go either really well or really wrong. Because the big mistakes, you can obviously fall into poison, or even worse, you get kleptoed. Which if you've heard of SM64, you know what klepto is.
Oh
and,
yes.
Yeah, it's not fun to get captured or to have Cappy get captured. So.
Right there, Stravos taking the lead. TripleX taking a bonk, going up to that butterfly moon. So we do see Stravos in the lead once again here.
Yeah, I mean, as unfortunate it is for Triple, I mean, I'd be glad that it's not instead bonking on the butterfly ledge or anything, or like that.
Oh my gosh, that was terrifying. I was almost convinced that he was gonna jump over that moon.
I mean, yeah, keeping a cool head like Triple is doing, and yeah, just like not making the time losses equate into anything too big.
And that's what's hard, you know, talking about speedrunning being mental, when you make these mistakes that, especially if it's something that's unexpected, right? So, we know that mistakes are going to happen in particular areas, they're common areas, but when you make small mistakes, like if he would have taken a death there, that can really affect the rest of the run because it's like completely out of thin air.
I mean, yeah, no, for sure. Mental is a very big part of speedrunning. I'd say it's honestly probably bigger than most sports. I mean, like,
oh yeah.
Look at Tyrone. He didn't PB for like 4 months, doing 80% attempts basically the whole time, and then out of nowhere just gets 2 PBs in basically the same day.
Right.
I mean, it's just all about mental game, pretty much.
Well, and I know the sub hour was a huge milestone in SMO Any % history, and that was a pretty exciting time watching all of these awesome runners attempt to hit that sub hour, but it was such a mental block, right? Like everybody, everybody knew that. I mean, you know, you're very close to sub hour yourself. Everybody knew that it was possible. Everybody saw the sum of best, but it's such a massive like mental barrier that it's almost like you defeat yourself rather than, you know, the speedrun defeating you.
I mean, yeah, especially like in like competitive ways where like you're kind of like racing against other people for a certain milestone or whatever. Like that's even more like that adds to the intensity of it. Like with like like you mentioned like the sub hour, there were like 4 people going for sub hour at the same time, trying to be the first. I mean,
yeah, that was a great time in SMO history. That was really cool. Watching, you know, Chaos Pringle, Nicro used to be Nicro Vita. Yeah, that was a really cool time.
Yeah, unfortunately I wasn't around for them, but it's very cool to watch back the videos from that time, just seeing how invested everyone was in this sub-hour grind.
Love this movie and this movement inside City Hall. This is, you know, kind of one of the areas that when I'm running make me nervous, just because it is so movement intensive in trying to make a cycle, right?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of places in this run where you're actually trying to hit a cycle. Like Super Mario 64, you're constantly trying to hit a cycle, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. TripleX getting a little spin in front of the wall, dropping down a little bit, losing a little bit of time. Stravos making quick work of the Mecha Wiggler.
I mean, yeah, like you mentioned with City Hall, it's always pretty scary trying to get that cycle. Like, yeah, I mean, it's a lot less stressful than SM64 trying to get that cycle because, like, worst case scenario, you're only losing like 3 seconds compared to SM64 where like some cycles lose like minutes or whatever.
Yes.
So
yeah, Fire Sea specifically. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I never got good at SM64. It was always just, I don't know. I don't like field-based gameplay.
It's a very different game compared to Super Mario Odyssey, and you know, I've run both games. Um, the movement is very different. But like Super Mario Odyssey, I feel, and I know this has kind of been a hot take on Twitter for some folks, I feel that the movement in Super Mario Odyssey is super fluid, like especially at a top tier level, um, where you almost have to combo movement versus SM64, where you're looking more at things like your rollouts, making sure you hit your rollouts on the right frame so you don't get lag from dust, and you know, so I can appreciate both of them, but to me they're very different.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I'd argue that like they're two like the most different like types of speedruns that you can do.
It's funny, when I first started running Super Mario Odyssey years ago, Dangerous was in my stream, and you know, in Super Mario 64, everything's about angles and making sure you have the right angle so you can hit your jumps. And Dangerous was kind of making fun of me because I was moving the camera to try to get angles for like a triple in Odyssey, and that's, you don't really need that.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, yeah, like I feel like especially in Odyssey, like you have so many more movement options. Like you can like do the rolls, you can do the triple jumps,
Right.
like there's so much more movement compared to like SM64. I feel like it's just like natural for like the game to have a lot better movement.
And I think one of the things that people who are looking to start out running Super Mario Odyssey, a trap they kind of get sucked into is specifically the motion controls. That's something that I was worried about when I first started running the game, and then realized, okay, you don't have to shake the controller like you're like, you know, choking somebody out. It's just a light shake, you know, um, and that kind of helps with that hand pain, especially when you're trying to learn a new game. Um, but watching people like, again, Chaos Pringle and how they hold their controller is was almost life changing for me.
Yeah. Not for yeah. I mean, when I kind of like at first I don't think I like really ever worried about like motion controls. I didn't
Right.
really like do a spin pound until they had like a like almost like sub 110 dB. So
Oh wow. Okay.
I mean it's not super hard. Like it's just like weird at first to get used to shaking the controller because like obviously what other games have motion controls besides
Right.
like
Exactly.
Wii games? But yeah, it's
Exactly.
like yeah, it's pretty unnatural at first, but I feel like it just like becomes habit as you do it over and over again, like these runners have done. You just practice, 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 and like eventually it just becomes kind of second nature to take the controller.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Metro Kingdom here is actually my favorite kingdom in the game, even just playing casually. It's super cool and unique to me. Um, you know, unfortunately, we don't get to see the festival in any percent, which is got all the banger music. But World Peace, if you ever are interested in watching the festival, it's either Festival Percent, World Peace, or any of the other categories. We'll typically have that festival in there.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I mean, I've enjoyed Metro quite a bit from a for casual perspective, but in its speedrun, it's probably like the worst kingdom. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I hate Metro and Run. Just, I don't know.
Yeah, I could definitely see that because you are kind of all over the place. There's a lot of time in between moons, unlike Lost, where it's almost like moon after moon after moon after moon. In Metro, it's you've got distance, and I see
Yeah,
what
I mean,
you meant there with Stravos not having to grab that hint art there in the pool. You know, I could see where that would save, yeah, about a second or so.
yeah. I mean, it's like I said, like I've been talking about this quite a bit, but like the small optimizations, just like the ones that save like seconds, like just 1 second, are the ones
Right.
that these runners are using to capitalize and get better times.
And right now, you know, TripleX nipping at Stravos' heels here, just waiting on a mistake. Oh, kind of missing where that moon was.
Yeah, it's a little tricky to get down to that moon, especially with like the weird dive they kind of do.
Right. All right,
Yeah,
Stravos
I mean,
hitting the globe here, going to be heading out of Metro. TripleX has got to grab 2 more moons here, make his way through the people, knocking their shins out from under him.
I mean, yeah, both these runners are decent runs. Triple obviously could wish for better, but I mean Stravos, he's basically on like 1-0, pretty good 1-0 pace.
See, and again, that's what it's about. You know, focusing on what you know.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, like these runners, they kind of know like basically everything about like the game, I'd say,
Hmm.
because like they know what to do in case X happens or in case Y goes wrong. Like they
Right.
know how to back it up, how to get back up there, and just like keep going.
And that's, to me, that's the hardest part. You know what I mean? Like the backups that we've seen from Triple X, it's almost like he shifted in his brain. Okay, I made a mistake. All right, back up. Right? It wasn't there
Yeah.
wasn't a second of hesitation of, okay, shoot, what do I need to do? What's the best way to get out of this situation? And I think that's massive.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially with a lot of mistakes you can make in Odyssey, like I'd say like 90% of them you can recover from without losing a large amount of time. I
Exactly.
mean, it's just especially I feel like Odyssey, especially more than other games like SM64, for example.
Hmm.
I feel like it's way more important to keep a cool head and like not start to like snowball and just like
Right.
keep playing the video game.
Well, I mean, and you know this, the reset mentality in speedrunning where, okay, I made a mistake, I'm gonna reset. Okay, I made a mistake, I'm gonna reset. And you don't have that in a race.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's like I mean, yeah, you've said it before, but like just like doing like the shoot um like the reset and like doing reset attempts and no resets are like completely different mindsets. And it
Exactly.
shows because like some runners like they like runners that perform better in races, they usually like certain people have it like so big of a different mindset in races, I guess, that like they'll PB in races way more likely than they'll PB in like reset attempts. So it's just like
Exactly. Well, and
it's all
because
about
you
yeah.
fall into that trap. I mean, you know, how many times has it been really tempting to do a reset in Cap Kingdom, right? Well, okay, I lost a half a second. I guess I need a reset. And that's where we see a lot of really good runners kind of struggle in races because their in game it just isn't where it should be because of all of those resets.
Yeah, I mean, not. I mean, like a good example I'd say is I guess Buster Doggy, who
Hmm.
is one of the competitors, but he has a very like his early game is insane. It's basically like mid 57 level, but just
Right.
his late game is what he struggles with the most because he doesn't get there super often, and it's just not as good as his early game, which
Exactly.
hinders his TD a little bit.
Stravos using those Goombas. Going to be
Hmm.
grabbing 2 more moons in this room and then heading out. Triple X going to be joining Stravos here in the Goomba room. So we're one sub room ahead right now, which isn't a ton of time. Like, I mean, it's, you know, what, 15, 20 seconds? Um, maybe a little bit
Yeah, I'd
more,
say so.
but you know, it in racing, in the racing world, it's really not a lot of time. Like, you know, Stravos can't, you know, put his controller down and relax a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean for sure. I mean upcoming we got Snowdram and one bonk on Snowdram. This is literally just pretty much just a tied race.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, well, it looks like Stravos has a pretty big lead. I mean, this can, like, Triple can be right back in, like, a matter of, like, seconds. It just depends on, like, what Stravos does. As long as he keeps a cool head, making sure not to make any big, giant mistakes, he can just play well.
And that's where, you know, so far there have been a few mistakes, but nothing like absolutely mind-blowing major. You know what I mean? Nothing that just completely ends everything. I would think Stravos getting Snowdram, making it look super easy. I've spent hours just playing around with like angles and vectoring just to try to hit that platform. So definitely making it look easy.
Hmm. I mean, yeah. I mean, like, Snowdram, it's very hard. Okay, well, not very hard. There are many harder trick jumps, but
Right.
it's just like one of those tricks that, like, under pressure becomes a lot harder, you know? And, like, doing
Exactly.
it first try, that's what makes it difficult. It's not because I can, like, and these runners as well, they can get Snowdram, like, probably, like, 1,000 times in practice, but just, like,
Right.
are you able to, like, keep that, like, mental game and be focused on, okay, I'm gonna get Snowdram, not I hope I don't miss it. Like, just, like, keeping that good, I guess, mentality, and just, like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Coming up on Seaside, this is my favorite kingdom My absolute favorite kingdom in the game. I don't know why. Oh, Stravos taking a nice little bonk here. Needed to kiss the side of that mountain for good luck, I guess. But I like Seaside a lot. Casually, I should say, because it's something unique. You know, water levels in Mario games or in any game have always been like a drag, right?
Yeah.
So we look at like Super Mario 64. JRB has only really ran in the 120 star category because it's all water. It's so slow. But with the optimizations that have been made, you know, specifically things like the many variations of fish clip that exist, uh, it makes it tolerable. It makes it fun, more like a platformer rather than just like swimming in sludge.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ozzy did a very good job of making its two water levels, Lake and Seaside. I think they're both pretty fun. And like they're not like a big grind like they are in some other games. I mean, with the capture mechanic that also helps quite a bit because instead of like just like swimming around as Mario, you're able to just swim as a Cheep. I think that makes it a lot like more fun.
Exactly. It really does. I mean, I'll tell you this. Um, it is super frustrating as a Cheep to bonk. Oh, up. Stravos having some trouble there, was in a little bit too far to grab that moon.
Yeah, I mean Strav went for this strat called fishin'. Well, like I call it fish dip, but there's like 5 different names.
Love it.
But I mean, it saves about 5 seconds. With Strav missing it, and that if you missed that clip, then it loses quite a bit of time. It makes it like kind of awkward to get back around to the front of the moon.
Right, for sure. And those are those times that TripleX needs to take advantage of.
I mean, yeah, not too much in the seaside is gonna lose too much time. I feel like most of the big time losses are already past us.
Nope. Yes.
But I mean, the upcoming kingdom, Luncheon, is this is gonna be another kingdom that's gonna change quite a bit of the run. I feel like we could see quite like Stravos either widening the lead by quite a bit, or Triple making the lead quite a bit smaller. Because Luncheon is just like it's really difficult, especially if you do Spiritless.
Right.
Spiritless is it saves about 8-ish. I think it's more like not like 10 at this point. 10 seconds. Just because you skip the Spewer moon and get a couple faster moons. But it's just like very hard. All of the movement is super tricky, very optimized. It's very difficult.
And it's one of those kingdoms where it's literally just all movement, right? It's I don't know. That's why I like it. You know, Bowser's is okay, but to me, like the pinnacle is almost Luncheon, up until you get into Moon.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Luncheon is just like everyone's just like on like some mad copium in Luncheon that you don't hope you don't lose like 40 seconds. It's just like so much can go wrong. It's just terrifying.
And trying to think back, you know, what put Stravos back into the lead here. I'm pretty sure it was strictly movement there throughout Lost. His Metro was pretty good. Right now, looks like he's about 24 seconds behind Stravos. Just from the count.
Yeah, I mean that's not that big of a time loss. I mean there's still a bunch of ways you can lose like upwards to like 40 seconds throughout the rest of the run.
Oh no, Stravos taking a little bonk down into the infamous Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah, I mean, just like that, small stuff like that. I mean, Strav was able to get back pretty easily and keep going, but I mean, the small time losses, I guess, like that, or I was gonna lose Stravos the run.
All right, Stravos knocking out Spewart really quick.
And oh, okay, we're gonna see a difference in routes. Let's go. Okay, Triple gonna be doing the Spiritless route, whereas Stravos is gonna be doing just the normal route. So Triple, assuming he plays really well, can save 10 seconds, but playing really well and getting that full 10-second time save is super hard. And we'll see if it pays off for him.
Alrighty, yep. So we'll know towards the end of Luncheon how close these runners truly are.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell, especially since since I guess Stravos got quite a bit behind with the because he had to fight Speward, but
Exactly.
Stravos, yeah, but I mean Stravos is up or not Stravos. I think Triple is technically up with like no, Triple's ahead in moons, but Triple has a lot of slower moons coming up, whereas Stravos can get a lot of fast moons really quickly.
Exactly. And that's where,
like,
I mean, and that's kind of been the debate, I guess, since the start of SMO, is like trying to get rid of a lot of those story moons within runs because they are a lot slower. Like, not only do you have to fight Spewart, but then you have to sit and watch the animation. Nope. Oh, okay. There we go.
Okay, Triple got the backup.
That was a little scary there for a second.
Yeah, knowing what he's doing, knowing to go on those pegs and able to restore the cap bounce and continue the movement. Okay, interesting.
Forked room used to be the kind of pinnacle of who was great at movement and who wasn't. That was like it was like a fun little test, and it's always super interesting watching high-level runners in the forked room because it's like a breeze for them. They're like, shh, this is like Cap Kingdom. What are you talking about?
It's actually kind of funny because now I mean at this point forks is literally just like cap, just like shake to move the fork and then cap throw. That's basically all it is at this point. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of interesting bringing up what's the best test of how good someone's movement is. Because I mean like that's kind of interesting. I never really thought about that.
Because now as SMO continues to get optimized, right? So, you know, things like adding in buffers or being able to buffer in specific movements and execute those movements quicker. You know, I don't really know what the judge would be now. You know what I mean? Like a good area of the run. Yeah,
it's interesting to think about. I mean, I guess at this point, it's kind of just like, it's not even really about that. It's because they're like, at this point, we're not getting like the big time saves. It's just like small movement everywhere. It's just, I feel like it's kind of hard to judge it now at this point.
Exactly. All right, TripleX gonna be buying a moon here. Stravos heading back through. I mean, this section casually. I mean, I never found the moon on the back of the mountain casually. right, because there's like no indication other than the sparkle around that it's there.
I mean, no, I can see it being very hard to see the moon there.
Right, because it's just not an area you'd think of going to. Like, you kind of look at it and it just looks like a part of the terrain. You're like, hold on, wait.
Yeah. Also, Stravos doing the invisible lock jump. Oh, sweet. That jump is really hard. It's always, that's probably like one of the hardest parts, the most scary parts of Spiritless. Getting that, jump on the invisible blocks.
Right.
And not, just not bonking and going into the lava.
Yeah, because I'd assume, I mean, that's pretty much death.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. And I mean, it gets you all the way back to the shop, and you have to watch the lava slowly burn in the lava.
Oh my gosh. Stravos finishing up here. TripleX gonna be right behind him here in just a second. So I mean, the question is, did that really save a lot of time? I mean, it saved some time to do Spiritless, right? Obviously, because the strat is faster, but you know, did it save enough time? You know what I mean? TripleX still having to get one more moon here. Oh, okay, almost falling off there. Was able to correct at the end. That was kind of scary.
I mean, to be completely honest, I think like the time, like I think Triple didn't even save any time. I think it was like tied. Like I don't think he saved or lost any time on Stravos the entire luncheon.
Exactly. Because right now looks like still about 20 or so seconds behind. We'll see if the fade out here. 19 seconds behind as of right now.
Okay, so it did shorten a little bit.
Now we go into ruins. Again, this is the section of the speed run. I call it the speed bump. You know, because it's not there's not a whole lot you can do to optimize more because you're waiting on the dragon to do its thing. But you know, if there was a way to find a wrong warp or get around it, I'm pretty sure any percent runner would be on board 100%.
Well, I think all except for there are a few people who, if you call Ruin an auto scroller, they will send threats at you. People hate when people call Ruin an auto scroller, especially one runner in particular, who I'm not gonna mention. But there are some people that
Voldemort runners.
nah, he's not that bad. It's just yeah, hey there has a Comstop holder of Ruined. Definitely does not like when people call Ruined auto scroller. Kind of.
And I'm okay with that. You know, when we look at speedruns, you look at speedruns over the history of since the beginning of when the first caveman picked up the Famicom to speedrun Super Mario Bros. It's like perfect example. Super Mario Bros. 3 has a few like auto scroller levels that are just avoided like the plague because I mean it is just kind of like a like I was saying a speed bump, right? It's
Yeah.
And to me personally, even just playing the game casually, it seems very out of place.
Yeah. Yes.
Ruined as a whole, but going into Bowser, right? Bowser's got some pretty crazy movement spots, specifically shards, which is one of the areas that I know people sit there and practice and try to optimize even better. Like, the movement is just so slick. Like, it's so smooth grabbing those shards that I'm impressed every time I see it.
Yeah. Actually, now that you kind of mentioned it, I guess shards probably could be the best like indicator of how good someone's movement is.
Right. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, because I mean, it's pretty movement based. You also got a few strats like you can do newer shards route that stays a couple seconds. I mean, you got like birdless shards as well, and like I guess kind of Bowser Jam as well to some extent. I mean, there are strats that you can do in shards that save time, so I guess it probably could be called like the best indicator of how good someone's movement is.
Kind of like a good benchmark. Yeah, I'd agree with that. So right now, Triple X going to be hitting that globe, heading into Bowser's, just as Stravos is entering Bowser's. You know, it's funny, when I was first learning this game, this beginning part where you're rolling through the Goombas confused me. And Danger told me, he's like, hey, stop touching the controller, just shake it. That's all you got to do is shake it. And you go in a straight line. I'm like, oh gosh, I feel terrible now.
Yeah, it's an interesting section. I feel like it's like I don't really know why that island is there. It's just kind of I feel like it's kind of random.
And you know, the thing about Bowser's Kingdom is you've got at the end of each one of these islands is a story moon, which takes time, right? You've got to let Mario do his little dance with Cappy and have the game tell us that we got a moon. Whereas, you know, you don't have that in a lot of the other kingdoms, right? Like,
oh yeah,
you mainly have them like at the end of a kingdom, like either defeating one of the Brutals or something like that. But here, it's almost like you have a start and then a stop and then a start and then a stop throughout Bowser's.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Bowser's is probably it's probably the closest that Odyssey has to like a traditional 2D Mario game where it's like you got like like certain levels and you can like I mean it's like kind of like SM64 too. We got certain levels you have to go through. Like I guess so I feel like in that way Bowser's is the most similar to other Mario games.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. You know, Super Mario 64, of course, you're having to every time you get a power star, it brings you out of the level. You have to restart. And of course, there's like ROM hacks that stop that, like nonstop and things like that, which change the game completely. But yeah, I would agree that Bowser's is probably the closest. Stravos having a little bit of issues with shards, missing a couple of cap throws there. Triple X looking way more solid, specifically on shards here. Yep. And of course, the commentator's curse.
Yeah, getting a little too spin pounding a little too early, missing that missing the like obviously like make the Pokio shoot at the bomb for you.
Right.
I mean, just jump in the gun a little too early on that spin pound, but not losing too much time. Just slightly behind Stravos.
Stravos going in with Harriet first. I absolutely love the Harriet fight now compared to what it was a few years ago. It's super interesting and intuitive.
I know. I mean, the new strat that was found like quite literally like just a couple months ago. We got Star Bomba, which is I guess you just saw Stravos doing it. Saves about a second. It's honestly just a really cool time save. Like, I don't get how anyone would ever think of like
Right.
having the bomb just like stay there for you.
Exactly. TripleX going to be joining Stravos here. Stravos already finished with Harriet. TripleX just going into Harriet. So right now, one brutal fight behind.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Triple's gonna be doing Star Bomba too. I mean, like, like for a while, like, how do you even think about having the bomb like be there for you?
Exactly.
Like, I don't get how that, like, it's just like I don't get how that thought comes across your head. It's just like, it's crazy, like at like what point these like Aussie tricks have come to. Whereas like every trick, like I would never have thought of that. Like same with like DSDA, like who would like how does that thought come into your head?
And what's interesting is, and shout outs to the glitch hunters who spends, you know, countless hours. They may not even run the game. They just sit here and play around and try to break the game. You know, shout outs to those guys. They're kind of the unsung heroes of these top tier runners, finding out what you can push the software to, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of yeah, our glitch hunters are pretty crazy. I mean, with the tasks, I mean, like we got like the new tasks that just adds to like the insanity of these tricks.
Right. Okay. Stravos having some issues with these boxes here.
Yeah, it's a little stressful, but staying cool, not trying to go for any unnecessary dives into the crates area. So just
Exactly.
like keeping cool, not exactly doing the most optimal backup, but it could be a lot worse.
Exactly. You know, one wrong input there, you dive into the box and then you're into the abyss and having to start over on the other side again. That's really what TripleX was kind of looking for there. Stravos heading up top. We'll be going for that infamous mech fight here real soon. TripleX getting into the boxes, no issues there.
That's what it's supposed to look like.
Right.
Oh. Triple almost trying to do the pipeless, where you skip going in that pipe and instead of just doing the movement to get all the way up here. It saves about a second or so, but it's very hard to stay at that time because it's basically all movement based.
It seems like that would be one of those high risk, low reward strats.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, the only person that I see do it and runs frequently is usually just like Tyrone, who is obviously the world record holder.
Right.
Probably the best SMO runner.
You know, and for beginning runners, this mech is super scary, right? You know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You don't know anything about target acquired. You're using the bird. It's super scary because if you fall off, you don't know those backups. TripleX having some trouble getting up there.
I mean, yeah.
He's able to recover, but Stravos already finished with his mech fight. But yeah, as a beginning runner, you know, the mech is super intimidating because that's where a massive time loss is. You know, I know running, you know, I don't have a great time in SMO. I've got like a 109.
It's not too bad.
But, you know, mech specifically, that's kind of like a big reset moment for me because if I fall off, you know, I don't know a lot of those backups to be able to get back up quickly. And so that's like a minute and a half. Oh no! Speaking of falling off, TripleX not only falling off, getting stomped on. That's not what you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, Triple going for that that tricky time save, doing the skipping the cap bounce. I mean, it looks cool, it looks flashy, but it's very hard.
Right.
And this is the Beck belt at this point. I honestly don't see a way that Triple can come back from this lead unless Stravos makes some major mistakes in Moon Kingdom.
Yeah, that's super painful.
Yeah, only now is he able to get back up here. I think I probably lost like maybe even like a minute.
Yeah, that's a massive time loss for Triple. Something that definitely wasn't expected, but you know, I guess it's the commentator's curse. Not just beginning runners or beginner runners are worried about mech, because it's a huge time loss if you fall off.
Yeah, I mean, Mech is probably like, I'd say it's like the penultimate scary thing in Odyssey, because
Right.
if you fall, then you just like if it's an 8% run, it's basically dead for these runners.
Exactly.
So it's terrifying.
You know, shout outs to Dangers and Tippy. You know, my pea-sized brain trying to understand how vectoring works in the game. They took me here to Moon, where Mario falls really slow to show me, and that's kind of where I was able to pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, most kingdoms you can't really tell like what vectoring is, unless like a trick jumper, I guess. It's really
Right.
kind of really hard to tell like the benefits of trick jumping. But I mean, Moon is where you can definitely tell that like, okay, vectoring exists.
Exactly. You know, there's small areas like frog vectoring in the beginning in Cat Kingdom, or even doing like Snowdram, right? You know, trying to vector correctly to be able to get that forward momentum to get up there. But it's not something that's as readily apparent, except for Moon, where you can fly halfway across the map in the beginning when you vector correctly.
Yeah, I mean, in 80% runs, and I mean most speed runs, you're not really in that outside section of Moon too long. You mostly
Right.
just kind of get through that as fast as possible. Then you're already down here in the part where there's no gravity again, or I guess normal
Exactly.
gravity.
Yeah, especially with any percent runs, you know, you see that a little bit more in like darker side, which is a category I've run a few runs in it. I've got like a 358 or something in darker side.
I mean, that's better than my PB. I've never run I've never run darker, so.
Such a fun category, and you know, while I love any percent because it is a very quick category, and you know, there's significantly less strats to learn. Running those longer categories, you tend to see more of the game, right? Like, you tend to see different parts because, like, I mean, as you know, as speedrunners, we kind of skip the majority of the game, especially for any percent, right? So darker side, all Moon's runs, they highlight some of the really cool parts in this game that you don't normally get to see in an any percent run.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. One thing I like to mention is Triple is actually the Moon Com Sop holder, so he has gotten the best Moon of all time. So
That's awesome.
it's gonna be interesting to watch his movement, because I mean his Moon Kingdom is gonna look way different than Stravos. It's gonna be a way more like high-tech strats are gonna be insane, especially Pillars, which is at the very end of Moon Kingdom is gonna be very crazy to watch.
All right, Stravos coming up here, controlling that Bowser, waiting on that bridge to fall.
Yeah, upcoming. You can't do 2 DSS, which is basically the entire 2D section. Just gonna jump up and just gonna like climb like a staircase basically. Just gonna get this entire part and just like jump up the wall. I don't get how it works. There's some invisible like floors somewhere that you can stand on, and you just be able to jump right up it.
We just saw that in the last race, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah? Okay, that's cool.
With Tyrone kind of pulling it out at the end of the race. Yeah, ended up with a 57:35 in a race, which is ridiculously nuts.
I think that's the best time ever gotten in a tournament race. So that's pretty crazy.
All right, Stravos hitting these pillars.
So yeah,
TripleX is finishing up here.
at this point, the only way that Triple basically has a chance of winning is if Stravos dies in these final minute or seconds of the run. It's the only way Triple's gonna be able to capitalize. So don't expect it from Triple. Obviously, putting up a great performance, But
Oh, yeah, for
Stravos
sure.
played so well, was able to capitalize on all of Triple's mistakes and just boom, PB. Or not PB, but sub hour. No, it's not
Just
sub hour.
over an hour. Just over an hour. Yeah, put those cat jams in the chat. Or whatever jams. Saren's not here, so you can use whatever jams you'd like. I'll approve it. Don't worry.
PUBG time.
Triple going for. Oh no! Okay, I thought he fell. Woo.
Yeah, GG's to Stravos. 10005 is definitely not something to be scoffed at in an 8% run. Especially
Yeah,
with
especially in a race. I mean, Stravos had that death in the beginning, which was kind of a shock. Gave TripleX the ability to kind of take the lead for a little bit, but that's
yeah,
insane.
honestly, I completely forgot about that death actually. Stravos just played so well in the rest of the run.
It really did. I mean, honestly, so playing within like a minute and a half of your PB in a race where you know you're going to be doing those easier strats, TripleX.
I don't know what he's
Desperate
doing.
to get, desperate to try to get 2D skip.
I think he's trying to get the triple jump off the first one, but giving up unfortunately. Gonna be doing the normal 2D.
But yeah, GG's to Stravos. While TripleX is finishing up, I do want to shout out. I see Jason in the chat now. Shout out to UAP. Make sure to hit exclamation point UA. They are sponsoring this Any % League, which has pretty much been like the match of the century every other match that we've had. Now, the key is for Triple is, your points are based upon that spread between Stravos and Triple. So, that kind of hurt him a little bit going for that 2D skip, but that's okay.
Yep. Gonna be finishing up, probably gonna be mid-ish to high 102, which obviously is not great for a race setting, but I don't think Triple, honestly he didn't bring out, I don't think he played as well as he normally can play.
Right.
Which obviously comes down to just like keeping the mental focus. Obviously, with the big mistakes early on, falling behind, definitely played into the mental a little bit, made him play a little worse. But finishing up with roughly like 102.29, so GG's to him, and yeah, obviously GG's to Stravos. You guys, I don't know if you're watching the stream, but you're both welcome to come into the restream, and you can do interviews if you want.
And while we're waiting to see if they're going to come in, if you've ever wanted to be a part of a amazing, phenomenal production team, be sure, come out to the Discord. You can also hit exclamation point volunteer to fill out a form. Those go directly to Saren's desk. He reviews them daily. We talk about it, and some cool stuff coming up. If you're interested in being a commentator, be sure to fill out that form as well. We'll be talking over the next couple of weeks, getting a core commentator team together as these leagues progress. I mean, CCG is just coming with all of the action here lately between SMO, SM64. I know in the future talking about Minecraft, talking about all of these different tournaments. So if you are not following, make sure to follow. Looks like we're not going to get these guys in the booth today, but still an awesome matchup. It didn't fall out until the end. It was really decided at the end there with the big mistakes from Triple. Stravos putting his head down, doing that consistent stuff. So make sure any information you want, all you have to do, exclamation point schedule. That's going to be a list of all of our events coming up here really, really soon. Saren is scheduling every single day. All right, he never gets a day off. So just kind of highlighting a couple of things that are going to be coming up. So we've got the SMO League that is still continuing. We got the SM64 16-star Open, which has been going back and forth. Oh my gosh, like you've got some of the big names: Flixer, Slippery Nip, Benji, Manmud, all of your favorite top tier runners. And then of course with the SMO tournament, we just saw Jambo, Tyrone, we saw Stravos here. This is the place to be. This is definitely a place to be. Make sure exclamation point Discord, join that Discord to get the update information, and follow us out on Twitter as well.